We've been through your changes as a dictator. Let's have one or two other questions I could ask you. Are racecourses becoming too powerful now?
I don't think they are, and I would say that from where I sit probably. I think there is a real good balance between the horsemen's group, people who put the horses onto the stage. That's the breeders, the owners, the trainers, the jockeys, the stable staff, everybody involved with the horsemen's group. And I think, and the other part obviously is the stage itself, the racecourses. It is a key balance. I think wherever you look in racing, I think you have to admit that the professionalism in terms of organisation is with the racecourses. That's where you would look. If you were looking to find an administrator for some other business out of racing, you might look at the racecourses as opposed to any other bit of the business. So I think those are the people who understand the business of racing. I think in terms of them understanding how to maximise and optimise the return from racing's economy, I think the racecourses have the best brains. And I think it's very important that the customers remain, I'm the dictator, yes. The customers are the king.
You're talking about customer experience. One failure in racing, you go to any betting shop, there are plenty of Asians, plenty of black people, yep. Jamaicans from Africa, and they bet like fiends. We hardly ever see them on the racecourse. Why is there this ethnic divide that you don't see the people who love betting, who really love racehorses, rarely go racing? What can we do there?
Well, you'd have to ask them. I suspect the answer would be that they don't feel comfortable in that environment.
Yes.
It's not somewhere. I mean, that they feel that is, and I'm afraid that's the case with football as well, and other sports, that they're not engaging with the sport as spectators.
Well, a third of Premiership players are black, and yet.
But how many are they proud of? How many are they proud of?
Now, why is that?
Because I think of the environment. I think it's certainly in racing it is very ironic. You know that the Chinese community, and I remember many years ago promoting the first Hong Kong Day at Sandown Park and promoting it to the people of Soho in London, and we really patted ourselves on the back. We must have spent fortunes getting it. We had 3 Chinese people at Sandown Park, and each of them probably cost us £3,000 to get them there. You know, and it is ironic. Hong Kong Day at Sandown. Yes. No, it is ironic, and it is disappointing. It's the same in Paris, for example, and same in other race courses.
There's potential there, isn't it? Of people who are on side, who wouldn't worry about furlongs, who wouldn't worry about your jockeys championships and all that kind of thing.
But that's about, again, understanding what environment they enjoy and not expecting them to enjoy the white middle class-ish society. You know, look at what else they do in their lives, and they're not going into the shops, they're not going into the environments that we think. Now, you've got to listen to what they want. I think they've got it about right. I think it's rather like a local authority. I think the word authority is a good word. I think a local authority, a British Horse Race Authority, their job should be to enable the commercial aspects of the business, the private sector, to flourish. Their job should be their relationship with government, relationships with getting the soil tilled, that people like us and the wonderful trainers and owners and jockeys and people can thrive off that. I think there will always be, are they doing their jobs 85% well or 75 or 105% well? But I think the move from the jockey club as it was then through to the BHB, the BHA, the people involved has worked really well, actually. I think in terms of allowing the race courses.
So all's well, you think, in the administration, I think it's pretty well going smoothly.
I think in terms of getting the administration, I think the financial arrangements moving on from the levy are not in bad shape. I think where racing's got to be competing is with the pound in the high street, the people who are beyond those people who know that every day they're going to pick up the telephone or get online or go into a betting shop. I think that's where, if we rely upon the same people to trade with us as we always have, we will just continue to lose market share. And I think young people are terribly important. I think in terms of young people coming through, not just the sons and daughters of people who've been involved, but people who think that racing is a place they want to be seen at, that they can identify with the jockeys and the trainers, and great to have some young trainers. There are some young guns coming through. I think that's very important because people enjoy seeing people of their own age. And again, talking the same language, I think that's very important. It is disappointing, that so many years after we've talked about how can we make bigger stars of our jockeys, not that much has happened, to be honest.
I don't know. I think in fairness to Racing for Change, largely due to them, I think they got A.P. McCoy was Sports Personality of the Year a couple of years ago, and they're really selling racing. Racing for Change, there are many more articles in the newspapers and on television, features outside of the sports and the racing pages. They are doing their best to bring racing to the notice of the general public. I
agree entirely, and I think, but it's up to those jockeys then to sustain that themselves and with their Twitter accounts and with their Facebooks and even to the effect, how about this one, John, that when I've gone racing and I backed this horse to win a race and it's got beat, or it may have won, but because I've made that bet, the next time that horse is running, I get a little bing on my mobile telephone. Or you can do it obviously on the nag meets, to say I'm running on Thursday. I think I'm better than I was on the previous week. Keep your eye out for me. But this is the general public, not the people who get onto websites all the time. The potential for horse racing to get up and compete with the major sports is still there. I think if we leave it another 4, 5, 10 years, we will slide down because those sports have made such inroads in how to understand their customers and how to promote to those customers on a far more customer-friendly basis. I'd like, at the moment, I'm kind of working out what I want to do in terms of, of within racing, outside racing. I'd love, it's a little coded, but I'd like to work in the familiar environment of racing from a different angle, rather than the angle I've been working for the last 35 years. And I'd like to work in an unfamiliar environment, maybe another sport or arts or something, in a more familiar angle. So I think, I made the decision after 30-something years at Cheltenham, and so long I can't remember, that now is the time to stand down because there is a turning of the page, and I think it's a great time to move on.
With Sam Vesti leaving as well.
Those are, Robert and I and Sam and I and get on just the same. So in terms of, but Sam's retirement allowed Robert to come in, me to move out, Ian to come in, and it's been terrific transition. That it's been great.
Well, that's largely thanks to you as well. It's
a great team. Yeah. But I think, but in terms of my role, administration as such, I like a bit of micromanagement. I like a little bit of being out there. I don't see myself sitting in a administration office running things to far distance from the action. I'd love to get involved, and I genuinely am passionate about racing. I love going to small race meetings as much as I do big race meetings. And I'd love to feel that having had the experience and I think being identified as a bit of a risk taker as an administrator, that we believe
innovator. You were an innovator.
Yeah, but occasionally things don't work. You've got to be able to take risks. They don't all work, and one of the regrets I think at the moment is that people expect everything to be successful. They won't be successful if they don't.
It took you a long time to have a 4-day Cheltenham. Will we ever get a 5-day Cheltenham, including the Sunday?
Well, as you know, these things could easily happen. I think the 3 days to 4 days worked supremely well. I think it worked well when we did it, actually, because, and it was obviously, there was a knockback in 2009 after the recession. But I think that has not only made the festival longer, it's made it stronger. I think the lack of internationalisation in jump racing is a real regret. I think, I've tried a number of times to get jump racing much more integrated around Europe.
Horses,
Absolutely.
New Zealand,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we have tried with the Sport of Kings Challenge, where I used to go to America and take horses there and bring them back. We're trying now with the Crystal Cup over the cross country, for example. Yeah. But the fact that we have
cross country,
good for you. It's the Marmite of racing.
I'm amazed that people object to it.
Well, less and less so now.
What steeple chasing was, that kind of thing. Yes.
But here we have. Just think of Ireland and England and France. 3 racing nations which all depend upon each other, the breeding wise particularly. And the greatest bonus for British racing in the last 15 years has been the French bloodstock coming in. That's given us the so much more quality.
Well, your regret, though,
But-
your whole career.
But I think that is I think the regret is that I'm not leaving Cheltenham at a time where where first of all we have the same rules of racing. It is pathetic in this 21st century that if you go racing in Germany or Czech Republic or France or Sweden, I was the other day, we're running off totally different rules of racing, and that's it. You're not going to be strong unless you can work together. And Europe is there's only 13 race nations in Europe who are racing, and you need them to pull together. I don't really have personal regrets. I don't. I suppose if I had a regret now is not being able to start again. I'd love to be a 27-year-old long-haired, flared-trousered kid coming in now, and be able to start again, because I think the future is exciting.
Edward Gillespie, you were king for the day, and you're still a long-haired kid. Thank you very much indeed.